All right, I got that recording going. All right, so I did put 2 links in the chat for people. The first one is going to be the Q&A form. And then the second one is going to be the funding opportunities landing page from our website. If you can't hear us, that might be a personal computer problem. Because some people can hear me and other people cannot. If you cannot hear me, please try turning on captions. All right, James, got it. This will be recorded and posted by tomorrow. So if there is some technical errors or difficulties, people will be able to kind of get those sorted out tomorrow. All right, so we are going to start with, if you have not been to the GROC landing page or website recently, please go visit that. It has had a very large revamp and is getting revamped pretty regularly these days. So if you go to the work tab, that is going to show you all of last year's meetings. This file right here, the 2025 meeting archive, is where you can access meeting agendas, meeting slides, meeting recordings. These are going to be the video links to join the webinar or the meetings virtually. Due to security and IT reasons, it's going to be a different link every time. You can also subscribe to the new Google Calendar. So if you click here, it'll download the subscription and upload that into your iCal or your Google Cal, and then you'll get a calendar invite with a meeting link that way. So of interest today is going to be the fundings opportunity page. We do have an emergency fund that is designed to supply timely funds to existing projects outside of the formal application window. So if you click on this, it will take you to a form where you'll give us your name, your organization, and amount. And then I'll have an interview with you to see if that is appropriate for emergency funding. Today's overview is going to be about the request for applications that opens up this Saturday. So you'll click on that button. This is the second link I dropped in the chat. This will give you a very descriptive and thorough overview of this funding request for applications. The funding window is February 1st to March 31st. And I will go over the different areas today and what that process looks like. But we have made individual worksheets for you to walk through with submission instructions. Again, here is that Q&A form that was in the chat. So any questions that you have today, please put that in the Q&A form. When you click on the Google Doc, this will show you a question that was asked, the answer, and when it was last updated, just ensuring that everyone has access to that. So there is going to be a webinar series, and you can register for that right here. There will also be drop-in office hours, which you can register here. This does give you a full schedule of activities, and the idea with the webinar series every Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. is that we will review a different portion of the application. So if you only attend those 1-hour webinars every week, you can still put together a competitive application for funding. All the webinars will be recorded. They will be linked to that webinar so you can go back and watch it, or if you didn't make it the first time, you can go back and watch it. Same thing with the office hours. Those will be recorded. Questions will be summarized and put into that Q&A form. So pretty accessible for you. I am, as the program manager, I am allowed to review applications for completeness. I cannot comment on the merit or strength of your application, and reviewing applications with me does not guarantee funding from the council. Please understand that I am a non-voting member. So this link will take you to my calendar so that you can book a 30-minute review session with me. I will only be taking bookings for reviews through this link right here. So we're going to jump right into the full funding opportunity. That's going to be this PDF right here. And again, this is going to describe everything that you need to know about the funding announcement. So again, this is specifically for Region 10, Gateway to the Rockies Opioid Council, also referred to as GROC. We are a regional council, also referred to by the acronym of ROAC. And we specifically cover Gilpin, Clear Creek, and Jefferson counties. Your place of business does not need to be in one of these counties, but your service or project does need to be in one of those counties. So here's a little overview of the National Opioid Settlement and kind of where GROC sits. And then there are different approved uses. So if you're not sure if your project or program falls align with an approved use, make sure you check out the Exhibit E or Schedule B. So we have a 2-year strategic plan, and this is for how the voting members or elected officials and advisory board members had decided to allocate funds. We have roughly 1.5 million for prevention services, which includes youth prevention, school substance use disorder and mental health education prevention, as well as community-wide prevention and education for all age groups. Treatment is a little over 3.5 million, which includes outpatient service access, in-person and telehealth outpatient treatment options for substance use disorder, psychiatric and mental health support, and subpopulations of individuals who include Medicaid and residents of Clear Creek and Gilpin counties. Council members established these subpopulations during the strategic planning prioritization process. This includes transitionary care, especially from incarceration into the community, medicated assisted treatment, also referred to as MAT, or medication for opioid use disorder, MOUD, access across the continuum and payer sources, as well as inpatient treatment, including residential and supportive housing with treatment. There's a little over 3.2 million allocated for recovery services, including recovery housing or sober living, and peer support services. Recovery support services like community-based response programs and clinics, growing peer-to-peer support services, and transportation, including inter and intra-county round-trip transportation. I can say transportation to and from Gilpin or Clear Creek County into Jefferson County and back is a hot topic for the council. We have a little over 1.5 million allocated to harm reduction. So that includes a full suite of harm reduction services like needle exchange programs, HIV testing, Hep C testing, and care kits, especially for the homeless population. Then we have 1.3 million set aside for planning and coordination, which includes workforce development for those providing substance use disorder and mental health services, which covers recruitment, hiring, retention efforts to build and maintain the workforce of clinicians, first responders, co-responders, peer support specialists, harm reductionists, and trainings for MAT or MOUD that are trauma-informed care. Please remember that this is the total amount for a 2-year strategic plan. So it would be fiscally irresponsible for us to award all $11 million in this 2025 round. The council does have a threshold of a minimum score that you have to get in order to be awarded funding. You have to have a strong application, a thorough plan. The remaining money will be used in the 2026 request for application round. Special application factors. So these are funding priorities in the review of applications. Are applications that are aligned and supplement other opioid funds received by the GROC. The Colorado Opioid Abatement Council, or at the state level, is referred to the COAC. Participating local governments and eligible state government entities. Number 2, projects that involve multiple counties, cities, or state agencies within Region 10. Projects with matching or in-kind funding from partnerships that may include but are not limited to foundation matching funds, in-kind staffing or materials, or other funds such as federal or state grants without restrictions on braiding the funding. A funding match is not a requirement for application. Applications from entities that have not previously received funding from the GROC shall be given higher priority. Applications demonstrating sustainability after the expenditure of the initial award, and applications prioritizing vulnerable populations. The GROC considers the following population groups as vulnerable and of priority. Thus, we request applicants to identify how their program or service supports one or more of these groups: rural communities, low-income individuals and families, racial and ethnic minority groups such as Black or African American, Hispanic, Latinx, Native American, Native Alaskan, Asian American, Pacific Islander, Middle Eastern, and North African communities. Justice-involved individuals and families experiencing homelessness, veterans, youth and young adults, pregnant and parenting women, and individuals with co-occurring mental health disorders. We will have a day in the webinar series where we go over how to articulate how your project serves one or more of these vulnerable populations. Again, all questions and inquiries should be directed to the Q&A form. So today's webinar is really me just talking at you. If you have a question at any point in the presentation today, please use that Q&A form to drop the question in. I will email people back once I post an answer for the public. The question period closes at 11:59 Mountain Time PM on March 28th. Applicants should monitor the webpage for any updates to the funding opportunity. To preserve the integrity of the review process, the program manager will not answer nor advise on questions related to the merit or strength of a proposed application. They can only comment on application completeness. The program manager will only reiterate what is contained in the materials on the GROC webpage and where necessary, offer additional clarifications. I am here to support you. Please ask questions, use that Q&A form, send some emails. If you send me an email and I redirect you to the Q&A form, please don't take it personal. Please understand that I am trying to monitor a lot of people through this application process, and I am trying to ensure that information is given out to the public equally and fairly. Webinars and office hours prior to applying. You're encouraged to attend the pre-application webinar. That's what we're doing today. Virtual office hours listed in the schedule of activities. Those will be every Thursday starting next week. To learn more about the funding opportunity, and recordings will be posted on the GROC webpage. So again, here's that schedule of activity. We will go over different portions of the application process to walk you through it in every webinar. And then again, those office hours are drop-in, they're more conversational. Your application is due to the Civic Plus portal on Monday, March 31st at 11:59 PM. Mailed in or emailed applications will not be accepted. In order to be eligible, you have to be a higher education institution, especially those that are considered Hispanic serving, historically Black, tribally controlled, Alaska Native or Native Hawaiian serving, Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institutions, nonprofits other than a higher education institution. So you have to have 501c3 status. Government agencies are eligible to apply. Independent school districts, public housing authorities, Native American tribal organizations, faith-based or community-based organizations, regional organizations. Not eligible organizations are small for-profit, small businesses, and for-profit organizations. If you're not quite sure where you land, please shoot me an email. Chris Habgood and I will be able to give you information on whether you're eligible or not. Basically, you do have to have a bank account in order to be eligible. There is a checklist to, again, go through, make sure that you have all of the parts. We have put word limits on certain sections as to not overwhelm the application reviewers with too much information. I can tell you right now, we do not want to see national statistics on overdose because we know what those are. We want to know them specifically for your location that you intend to serve. I did see something pop up asking for this notification. You can get this on our website. So again, if you go to Gateway to the Rockies Opioid Council.com, click on funding opportunities, then it's scroll down to the page. It's section 1 funding opportunity description. That is what I am going over right now. You should also be able to scroll up in the chat to get that. So going on in terms of how to apply, the application form will be available on the GROC webpage. The documents that are in there right now connected to the public Google Drive are drafts. They are not the official application. They are intended to help you craft your application so that you can copy and paste your answers into the Civic Plus portal. That link will be made available on Saturday. You don't need it right now. Your application's not due until March 31st. It's not like if you submit your application now, we're going to look at those applications sooner. We will not look at a single application until April 1st. They will all be downloaded at the exact same time. We will not look at timestamps. So applications must be submitted through Civic Plus. You will receive a confirmation of receipt within 2 business days. It should be pretty instant. Chris Habgood and I have tested that. It's instant confirmation. If applicants have not received a confirmation within 2 business days, please email me, as this means your application has not been received. Late applications will not be accepted. So even if you are having an issue on the 31st, a delay on your end does not constitute an error on my end. So keep in mind that I am one human being, and if everyone starts emailing me on March 31st that they're having issues in the portal, I can't do a whole lot about that. So please do your diligence to submit your application a few days early. Budget and funding period. The GROC expects to receive opioid funds through 2038 and will award regional share funds in accordance with the terms of the Colorado Memorandum of Understanding and pending future settlements. To understand how opioid funds are distributed in Colorado, please visit the COAC dashboard. After selecting awardees for the 2025-2026 round of the regional share, the GROC will issue an official award letter and authorize monthly reimbursement transfers of funds to the awardee unless an upfront lump was requested and approved in your application. Per the terms of the MOU, funds may only be transferred to appropriate agencies. Awards must be expended within the time period outlined in the award application. Any use of funds beyond this period must be reviewed and approved by the GROC. Regional share funds cannot be used for expenses incurred by the awardee prior to the issuance and acceptance of the award letter. You should submit a proposed budget and work plan available on the GROC website to be eligible for this funding opportunity. Administrative costs shall not exceed 10% of the total budget. There is an Excel template for you to download and fill in that automatically calculates this 10% of admin costs for you. Please make sure that you attend the budget webinar day to learn more about that. If the awardee wishes to amend their budget or work plan at any point, that has to be submitted to me as the program manager. The updated amendment form will be made available to awardees upon request. On behalf of the GROC, the program manager, the fiscal contact, which is Chris Habgood, and the legal team will review the requested amendment and ensure an alignment with the terms. Reporting. Awardees are required to submit a minimum of 3 quarterly reports and 1 final report. Awardees for multi-year funding are required to submit a quarterly report and annual report through the award period approved on their application. This is the first year that we are allowing multi-year requested funding. So you will have an option for a year 1 budget request, a year 2 budget request. And if the council chooses to do a 3rd-year renewal, what is that budget request? We do expect the budget amount to decrease every year, which demonstrates sustainability in your program. Again, I will go over that in greater detail on the budget webinar series day. All reports should align with the awardee's approved budget and work plan. Acceptance of funds indicates agreement with the terms of reporting. There will also be a mandatory learning forum for grantees where we talk about how you can construct your evaluation report each quarter. I can administer a template if that's easier for you, but really we want it to be community based where you develop a structure that works for you based on the evaluation plan that you submit in your application. This does go into a little bit more detail on quarterly reports and annual expenditures. In terms of indicators for reporting, we do have a webinar series on evaluation. But in short, you should have an objective. How are you going to measure that objective? And then that's what you would report in your quarterly and annual report. There is an example of indicators for objective measures of success. You are not limited to these measures. This is just to help guide you on what that would look like. And then here's where we talk about the learning forums. Remedial procedures, any remedial action taken against awardees that misuse funds from the GROC shall be in accordance with the GROC remedial procedures and the glossary of terms. And then here it is, here's the glossary of terms that goes over everything, the award cycle, the award date. Let me go back up to this website. It's not going to move it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So in the schedule of activities, again, applications are due on March 31st at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time into the Civic Plus portal. The review period for the council is April 1st to June 9th, and we anticipate awards being announced publicly June 23rd. This means that contracting will occur through the month of July. So there's an anticipated award start date of August 2025. So that would be the funding opportunity. See if I can drop this in the chat. Someone did ask for emergency funding. Is this for approved applicants from 2023 to 2024? No, the emergency fund is for anybody at any time. It would be like, for example, you were receiving state funds for Narcan distribution, and those funds just immediately stopped and you needed Narcan. That would be something that you would apply for through here. It does have to be through the Schedule E, Exhibit E and Schedule B approved uses. And so that link will open up after the RFA process. So that link will be open outside of the RFA window. Because if our RFA window is open, that's really what you should be applying to. I am going to go check this Q&A board to see if there were other questions asked. So someone asked when application materials will be available and where are they located. The draft application materials are available now on the website. That would be when you clicked on the apply for general funds and you're in that funding page, if you scroll down, anything that is linked in blue, the application checklist, the section 1 funding opportunity description, which is what I just went over, the award information, eligibility information, the application and submission form. I will go over that right now. So I'm going over this one right now. The section 4 application and submission information. So you can download this and you can start to fill in where it says to be filled in. So remember, all applications must be submitted through the Civic Plus portal and be eligible. This is only for preparation purposes. So again, it gives you the mandatory application information. You're going to need your organization name, your mailing address, your telephone number, a W-9. This is going to be an upload, a certificate of business and good standing from the Colorado Secretary of State office. That will be an upload. Applicable certificates of insurance, state and county required licensing or certification, name and email of the individuals who are serving as contacts for the application, and then the organization's website, LinkedIn, or description. There is a disclaimer of transparency. So you understand that all materials and supporting documentation included in the application are subject to Colorado's public records, laws, and requirements. You'll click yes, I understand. You are aware that GROC cannot support duplicate funding efforts, and applicants will have to choose only one funding source if approved by multiple funding lines. Applicants can piece together funding sources for different aspects of the program or service, which should be disclosed in item 2. There is a box for you to type if you plan to submit the application, the same application to other funding sources, you would say yes, and which ones. So the Colorado Infrastructure Award is open right now. It closes on Sunday. And so you can submit an application to the COAG, and then you can submit the same application to the GROC, knowing that it's kind of one or the other, or you have to be able to very clearly delineate which line items from your project are being funded by the Infrastructure Award and which items from your project are being funded by the GROC. So for example, my salary cannot be paid by the Infrastructure Award and a GROC award. So it would be an additional person for the salary. Again, we'll go over this at the learning webinar next week. You'll have a project title that is descriptive. You will select your funding project area. Prevention, treatment, recovery, harm reduction, planning, coordination. We did add a separate area for capital. So this would be like if you wanted to buy a house or you were doing construction costs, then you would select capital. Again, at next week's learning webinar, I will go over how to differentiate these and pick the best area for your project. There are descriptions of each project area. Again, you will provide a brief background, which is 250 to 500 words of your project and service area. You will describe the scope in 500 words or less. You will give primary objectives of your project in under 750 words. You will explain how you're going to hit one of those target populations, one or more of them, in 750 words or less. You will give us a timeline. You will give us a total budget amount. So if requesting multi-year funding, this would be your total amount for 3 years. In the Civic Plus, we do ask you to break it down to year 1, year 2, year 3 as well. Then there is a budget worksheet upload. So again, if I go down here and I click on the budget template, that will open up the budget template and it will ask you to fill in the uses. You do have to pick an approved use. You might have to download this. I don't think you can work on it online before you can pick the next drop down over. I have no idea how to use an HP apparently. And then that will be an upload in Civic Plus. The budget work plan, that's also, or that's what we were just talking about. The personnel qualifications, in order to be more equitable, we are not allowing resumes or CVs. You will upload a bio sketch template only for key personnel. Again, I would download this. That way you can fill it in. And then we do give you an example of how to fill this in. That's a whole day. And then you'll give us an evaluation plan. This is probably going to be one of the harder steps for a lot of people, but it will also be one of the most crucial to the council. There's a day on going over evaluation. What is the objective? So that objective should match what you put right here in the objective box. Data source, so is it counting attendance? How are you going to collect it? Who's responsible? And then what type of analyses are you going to do it all? There's options of attachments. You can have an organizational list of names and qualification of staff. Again, no resumes. So if they're a key person, you want to do a bio sketch. If you have just support staff, you're just going to want to list their name and their job title. If you're doing any type of hiring, then you're going to want to list like what their qualifications are, the minimum qualifications are that you're looking for, contributions to the project. You can also do letters of support or letters of acknowledgement. This is a very clear distinction. They are not the same. If you go over again to that general funding announcement, it does differentiate them. So a letter of acknowledgement, if you are a Jefferson County based organization and you want to expand into Gilpin County, you should have at minimum a letter of acknowledgement from someone in Gilpin County that says, I know this person is applying to put their project in Gilpin. I would like to learn more about it. That is the difference between community based and community placed. We don't want people, big organizations from New York, coming and putting in co-responder programs in Clear Creek or Gilpin County without being connected to the community in some way. Letters of acknowledgement are extremely neutral. Letters of support say we absolutely want this service from this organization in our service area. We want to partner with this person. We know about the application. We are willing to serve as an implementing organization. So if you are hiring a third party to do your evaluation program, then they would want to submit a letter of support that they agree to the terms outlined in the evaluation plan in the application. If you click here, there are templates for letters of support. and letters of acknowledgement. You should give those organizations ample time to fill those out. If you have previous evaluation reports, then you can also submit that, but again, that's not necessary. And then here's an example of the biographical sketch that's already been filled out. It tells you to only use Arial font 10 or 11. Yeah, Arial 10 or 11. So again, just make sure that you're following directions, keeping in mind that you're asking for a lot of money. And if you can't follow directions in the application process, that makes us hesitant to release a lot of money to you. And then that's going to be the application. Let me go back. Someone asked, has an organization been created in Civic Plus for this opportunity? I'm not sure I quite understand the question. If the question is, has a link been created for Civic Plus? Yes, that link becomes available on Saturday, February 1st. You would have to type in your information. Someone else asked, sober livings that are for profit are not eligible for this funding, or is there some exception to that? That is a dependent because of the nature of sober living. You should reach out to me via email so that we can get your tax documents over to our legal team and Chris Habgood to ensure that you do qualify for funding. It's not a black or white question. So again, the link to the Q&A board is going to be on our website, where that funding announcement is, and then scroll down halfway through the page on the funding announcement, and it'll say Q&A board. Let's see if I can grab it here. GROC meetings are also public meetings. So even after you submit an application, you are welcome to attend the monthly meetings where the council will have group discussion on applications. You are just not allowed to contribute to conversation for the field that you submitted an application to. So if you submitted an application for prevention, you cannot speak at a public meeting on any of the discussions around a prevention application. You can contribute public comment when appropriate to the treatment category. If your application makes it to the final round, we have implemented a revise and resubmit process where a series of questions by the council will be put together and sent to the applicant. That way you can answer them and give them back to us. Those will be presented to the council for clarity, and then they will make the decision. The council also has the decision to partially fund. So when you attend the budget meeting, I will teach you how to scale your budget to give the council options for funding. If you don't give them options for funding and they don't want to fund the entirety of your project, then you haven't given them guidance for kind of what your bare minimum is. And then that would just be based on what they decide is appropriate in the conversation. I don't see any more questions coming in. So I am going to give everyone back their time. Please be on the lookout for an email that has the recording will be linked to. So if we have your email, you will get an email tomorrow that has the meeting minutes from Monday, the funding announcement, and a link to the recording. If we do not have your email, please make sure that you go sign up for our listserv on our website under the Get Involved tab. There's a sign up for the listserv. Then keeping in mind, all of this will also be on the website. So just pin the website to your favorites. Things will be linked almost daily for updates, especially that Q&A form. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm super excited. Make sure that you register for the webinar series. Hopefully I see most of you next Tuesday. Feel free to send out an email if you have questions. And that's it. Thank you, everyone. I'm so excited. Have a great rest of your day.